Hey, good morning again, or good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. I'm in Romans chapter 8, and now in verse 28, that favorite verse of so many people. It says this, "And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose." In verse 26, Paul said that we don't know exactly what to pray for. And I always want us to remember, when you're confused about something, when you're seeking the will of God, when you're discouraged, don't focus on the things that you don't know, but focus on the things that you do know. For instance, we know this about God. Because we love him and he loves us, all the things that are happening in our lives are working toward the good. Think about toward the perfection. And if that's not understood about what that means, then the rest of the verses sort of show what that's about. Listen to this, and this is sometimes called the golden chain. The golden chain in salvation. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined. To what? To be conformed to the image of his Son. That's the good that God is working toward in all things for us, toward confirmation to his Son, in order that we might be the firstborn among many brothers. And those whom he predestined, he also called. And those whom he called, he also justified. And those whom he justified, he also glorified. That is the good. That is the end. That's the conformation to God's Son. That's glorification. So he said here, we are called according to his purpose. And that's what God's purpose is to make people into his Son, likeness of his Son. And God, when he purposes something, he always gets it done. He never fails. He foreknows us. Remember, foreknowing here in this verse is not simply that God knows ahead of time. What God knows, he knows because he has ordained to happen. That's how he knows the future. But this means that his choosing. This is his choosing for some particular purpose. So he knows them and he chooses them for love. It's a word related to covenant love. He also predestines them. He calls them. That's a call. He knows he's going to make it. He's determined that he's going to call you. It's an effectual call. It's a call that works. It's a call that is not resisted. That's why we believe in irresistible grace. We say when we're talking to somebody about salvation and imploring them to be saved, to accept Christ, we say we're calling them, we're inviting them to do that. But this calling is not an invitation. This is more like a command to come, which those who have been predestined, those who have been foreknown, always follow. So the grace of God in salvation is irresistible. Someone may reject your offer of salvation as you preach the gospel, but they cannot reject God's calling because they were foreknown. If they are foreknown, they are called. They are also justified. They're made right with God through the blood of Jesus Christ. And then those who are justified, the whole thing is completed. They'll be glorified. We will be glorified. So this great purpose of God that starts before the world began and ends with the world to come in our glorification, that supersedes and trumps all sorrows and pains and confusions that we have in life. This is our destiny by the great grace and love of God. So be encouraged about that today.